When Magneto created an electromagnetic pulse that knocked out power throughout the world, he unintentionally killed thousands of civilians due to plane crashes and medical failures. The X-Men had to stop him. In the following conflict, Magnus ripped the adamantium from Logan's body, leaving him in very poor condition. In response, Charles erased his old friend's memories, leaving him in a vegetative state. Without realizing it, the professor absorbed Magneto's intense hatred for humans, which combined with his own negative thoughts. Thanks to Charles's enormous psychic powers, these feelings managed to create another entity known as Onslaught, which hid within the professor's mind. Initially, the new entity remained inactive, but as Charles's frustration with social hostility towards his species increased, the failure in his attempt to rehabilitate Sabretooth and the death of hundreds of mutants due to the legacy virus, caused that Onslaught's power was increasing. Xavier reached his breaking point when several humans killed a young mutant near the Institute grounds. Witnessing such an act of cruelty, Onslaught was freed and began his plan for the mutants to take control of the planet. The psionic entity posed as the professor while it invaded a government sentry base. He downloaded the current specifications for the mutant-hunting androids and erased parts of the memories of the employees working at the factory. Sometime later, Nate Gray, the son of Jean Grey and Scott Summers from another timeline, removed Xavier's physical body from the astral plane, which caused Onslaught to escape Charles's mind and move freely. The new being wanted to fulfill both Charles's dream of peaceful coexistence and Eric's dream of a world where mutants were the dominant race. To achieve this, the villain deduced that he had to convince the mutants to take military action against humanity. In his first attempt to convince the X-Men to help him, Onslaught sought out Jean Grey and attempted to convince her on the astral plane. When Jean refused, the villain proceeded to attack her and revealed that deep down, Charles was in love with her. Marvel Girl, who saw the professor as a father, refused to believe this and tried to defeat Onslaught using the remaining power of the Phoenix that still lay within her, but not even with this she was able to defeat him. Xavier's evil side kept the Phoenix fragment and let Jean escape, promising her that they would see each other soon. Following this, Onslaught completely took over Charles's body, posed as the X-Men's mentor, and called a meeting. When they resisted his plan to turn them into soldiers waging an all-out war against the humans, Onslaught revealed himself to the X-Men and attempted to destroy them. Bishop remembered that in the future he had heard stories of a mutant who had betrayed the X-Men and understood that the traitor was Charles under the control of his evil side. Bishop managed to save his companions, but Onslaught escaped and took Xavier's body with him. Once free, the villain created a psionic projection of himself to gain the trust of Franklin Richards, the son of the Invisible Woman and Reed Richards, who possessed great powers to alter reality. Onslaught managed to capture the boy, and after this he went after Nate Gray. This being planned to use the combined powers of both to create a collective mind that would unite all living beings on the planet. By doing so, he could take control of all of humanity, and the psychic energy released would make him one of the most powerful beings of all. Onslaught returned to New York, reprogramming the Sentinel robots to obey his orders and form a protective circle around Manhattan, isolating the island from the rest of the world. Seeing the looming threat, the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and the X-Men teamed up to stop Onslaught. His first confrontation with the entity and its minions resulted in the rescue of Xavier, who had lost his powers. Separating from Charles's body, Onslaught evolved into pure psionic energy contained within his armor. After this, there were several attempts to rescue Franklin and Nate from the villain's interior, but they failed terribly. The entity used Franklin's powers to create a second sun that would destroy the heroes and Manhattan. In a last, desperate effort, Jean Grey suppressed Banner's personality, leaving the Hulk to go completely feral. The Green Goliath became extremely strong and managed to shatter his opponent's armor, releasing all of his psionic energy. As a result, Banner and Hulk were separated and Onslaught was converted into energy, making him immune to physical damage. In this state, the entity sought to obtain a new mutant body, and if achieved, it would become an invincible being. Due to this, the X-Men had to retreat, while the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, Bruce Banner and Dr. Doom faced Onslaught. These heroes managed to defeat him, but were trapped in another dimension created by Franklin during the altercation. The remaining Sentinels were deactivated, Franklin and Nate were rescued, and Manhattan returned to normal. Eventually, the lost heroes returned to their universe and Banner rejoined the Hulk. When Scarlet Witch removed the powers of most mutants on Earth, she inadvertently caused the rebirth of Onslaught. The villain again tried to take over Franklin Richards' powers, so he escaped to the Pocket Universe where the Avengers and the Fantastic Four were trapped. Thanks to the heroes of that world, Onslaught was locked in the negative zone and Franklin returned home. Xavier's evil side returned to the main Marvel Universe when the Secret Avengers and the Young Allies went to Columbia to investigate a Roxxon facility. Onslaught emerged from the negative zone and possessed the body of a hero named Ricky. Shortly afterward he revealed that the real Ricky had died in the negative zone, and that the body he currently possessed was nothing more than a construct he made in order to return to Earth. The boy asked his friends to kill him to prevent the villain from destroying the world. Gravity did so and Ricky died, but Onslaught's presence was still latent. After the events of Avengers vs. X-Men, a Red Skull clone stole part of Charles Xavier's powers. With this, he attempted to eliminate the mutants once and for all. To achieve his goal, he lured Magneto into a trap where he repeatedly tortured and humiliated him. When Eric had enough, he killed the leader of Hydra. This caused Magneto's fury to merge with that of the Red Skull, creating a new version of Onslaught called Red Onslaught. This being altered the psyche of all people to take control of the planet, but was ultimately defeated by the Uncanny Avengers. Sometime after Professor without being detected, the invader preyed on the mutants' negative emotions, amplifying them to the point of self-destructive behavior and ideological struggles, while feeding on the mutants' psyches. This caught the attention of Charles, who asked Nightcrawler to investigate what was going on. With the help of Legion, Pixie, Zorn and other mutants, Kurt managed to defeat Onslaught seemingly definitively. A new version of Onslaught was recently introduced. This one comes from another universe where Magneto killed Charles and in response, Jean Grey turned off Eric's mind. As he did so, a different Onslaught than the original manifested. He took control of his world by posing as the Phoenix and tried to attract the Firebird to absorb its powers and invade the multiverse. Another version of the Phoenix from another reality recruited the original X-Men to stop him. After failing, he gathered a group of Wolverines from across the multiverse to locate and eliminate Onslaught before he became more powerful. Onslaught possessed the combined powers of Professor X and Magneto. By absorbing Franklin and Nate, he stole their reality-altering powers. He is capable of traveling to the astral plane, controlling matter, and can detect dimensional fissures. He has enormous physical strength that allows him to fight with beings like the Hulk and Juggernaut, in addition to his armor being extremely resistant. His main ability is his ability to absorb other mutants, which allows him to steal their powers. These abilities, added to his high intellect, make him one of the most dangerous villains in all of Marvel. Onslaught is a villain well remembered both for his participation in the comics and has evolved to become a representation of hate within Marvel. He is also well known for being the final boss in the Marvel vs. Capcom video game. Many fans have hoped to see his debut in a series or movie. Maybe this will be possible in the future. While we wait, rest assured that Onslaught will return in future X-Men comics, being one of their most striking villains.